All right. I want to give you guys some updates on Brittney Griner. You know, her wife spoke out in her first interview since Brittney Griner was detained. And you guys, it is heartbreaking. Okay. She sat down with Gail, honey. You know, she had to sit with the best of them, honey. But basically, she is now speaking out and giving us more insight on what Brittney Griner is really going through. So, as you guys know, Brittney was detained on August 4th. So she's been locked up for, excuse me, back in February. She was sentenced on August the 4th to 9 years in prison for possession of marijuana or, you know, the hashish oil, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, her lawyers are going back to court and they're arguing that the time that she got was excessive. And that defendants that they have, you know, that the defendants before this have received sentences of average up to 5 years, with a third of them being granted parole. So we're not really sure why Brittney is getting really this excessive amount of time. Well, Cherelle, her wife, is, like I said, spoke out in her interview, and it's really not good news. You know, it's heartbreaking. She's basically saying, on its face, it seems like my wife is a hostage. Let's take a look at a clip from that interview.
I mean, that's her life.
When I look at the news, and I don't know her, of course, and most people who are watching this don't know her, she looks very vulnerable to me in the tape. When you see her, what do you see?
She's not herself. When I see her, she's not herself. I say she's strong because how are you still standing? Like, how are you still alive going through this? But BG's at her absolute weakest moment in life right now. She's very afraid about being left and forgotten in Russia, or just completely used to the point of her detriment, because she's like, you know, saying things to me like, my life just don't even matter no more.
Is that what she said to you?
Yeah.
My life doesn't matter?
Like, I feel like my life just doesn't matter. Like, you guys, like, y'all don't see me. Like, y'all don't see the need to get me back home. Am I just nothing? Like, and those are all valid emotions to feel, and I don't have answers for it except the fact that your life matters to me.
I feel Cherelle like all the way through and through. You guys, this was more of like a 10-minute interview. You can go on YouTube and pull up the whole clip. I really encourage you guys to listen to the whole clip because there's really more information about BG. She affectionately calls her BG. Her friends and family call her BG. And I know exactly how she feels in this moment to know that your loved one is getting an unfair amount of time and that the law just is not balancing in the way that it should. And then there's this, you know, this feeling of like hopelessness because you can't do anything. And then you have this person on the other end that you love and care about the most in the world, and there's nothing you can do for them. And it's heartbreaking. And I really, you know, you look at Brittney and you think that she's able to kind of handle everything that comes at her. But when someone gets a 9-year sentence, and I've been there sitting in a courtroom when your loved one gets a 9-10 year sentence, it's like your whole life is just washed away.
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, free BG, man. You know what I'm saying? It's man, it's just the worst timing ever because you know now Putin, you know, he's talking about using his tactical nuclear weapons and all that. I mean, this shit is great. I mean, it's like her value keeps increasing. Actually, you know what I'm saying? On the flip side, because the more these tensions keep going up over there with Russia and everything else, the more her value now goes up. You know, as far as these guys trying to negotiate some kind of release to be able to get her out. But I mean, the sentence is crazy, you know, and man, you know, has there been any kind of update? That whole situation, they said it was going to go quiet and it was going to be quiet intentionally so people could work behind the scenes. But like, I mean, hearing the wife talk, it's like there's no progress.
And that's kind of, you know, she didn't allude to that. And let me also mention to you guys that she also has a legal degree. And so this is somebody who understands the law here in the United States and probably is looking into the laws there in Russia and has a pretty good understanding of how the judicial system should work in its entirety, right? And she does give kudos to President Biden and his administration, saying that he is doing all that he can, but that the negotiation process is just slow. And so what's going to happen now is that if within 2 weeks, BG doesn't win her appeal, she is going to transition over into a labor camp. And that is like the last thing they want to do, because it's just absolutely disturbing in what can happen when she moves over to that labor camp. I think you bring up such a valid point in that while she did commit a crime because medical marijuana is illegal in Russia, you know, BG's been going to Russia and playing in this league for the last 8 years. So she's not a rookie to this. And she's been really a part of and looking forward to working with the UMMC over there in Russia and hooping over there and has fans and garnered support for a long time. And so it's really just this war that has her at its grips. And so there's no way that I'm ever looking at this case like she's not a hostage and in a hostage situation. I just can't imagine more of what she's going through. I mean, it's crazy. And for her to be a celebrity makes her probably feel even more vulnerable, because it's like, who is there to just pick her up and grab her? The stakes are just so high.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely a hostage at this point. I mean, that's what I'm saying. She has a lot of value now to the Russians, and I think that they're gonna. I mean, one thing the Russians said for sure, right? And we'll see what happens after this appeal. They said that they weren't ready going to negotiate until there was a basis of negotiation, which means that she had to go to trial and be sentenced, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
then it came out with the sentence, and now they're in their appeal window. So I mean, if something is gonna happen, it would happen when they lose the appeal, which is like most likely gonna happen, and then the Russian government is then at a position where they could bargain, right? Because they were saying that they're not gonna do anything until she was sentenced, and then she got sentenced. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Until then, you guys, let's all continue to uplift BG and her family. And,
Yeah.
I wish we could figure out how to write her and send her letters of support and just let her know, like, even us guys here at Converge are rooting for her and telling her to stay down and keep her head up. So, look.